for the hardest-hitting show in talk radio. The true progressive voice since 2012. This is Southpaws.
And welcome to Southpaws on the Pacifica Radio Network. We are the leaders of the revolution. My name is Darren Gibson, and I'm your co-host.
My name is Jack Prince, your fellow co-host.
Boy, have we got a lot to talk about today, as we always seem to do every week.
Yep.
We're going to explain what the hyoid bone is and why it's important in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Plus, we got a great Hammer Time segment this week as well. And I just noticed, Jack, are those new glasses you're wearing?
Yeah, these are. I know that they're a bit feminine. These are Sharon's glasses. Mine got broke.
Uh-oh.
So she said, hey, I got a pair in the drawer. So, yeah, I'm glad you noticed. I kind of like them.
Is the prescription pretty on the mark or not quite?
I can read my notes. I guess that's all I need.
Okay. Yeah, I like that green.
Not perfect.
That green works. I just happened to look up and notice because we've been so busy talking about what we were going to discuss this week on the show that I didn't even pay attention. So anyway, if you would like to pay attention to us a little bit more, you can do so by following us on social media by going to facebook.com/Southpaws Radio Show. You can follow us on Twitter at Southpaws Radio. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/Southpaws Radio. And, of course, you can listen to us anytime you want at Spreaker.com. Do a search for Southpaws there. We're also at the iTunes Store. Search for Southpaws under podcast and find our logo, and you'll find us real easy there. And, of course, you can listen to us on Pacifica Radio, including KCEI-FM in Taos, New Mexico, and every Monday night at 9 p.m. on Global Community Radio Channel 1. We're on right after Democracy Now!, so make sure you check us out there. Well, Jack, were you surprised Saturday morning when the breaking news hit the airwaves that Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell?
No, not at all.
I really wasn't either. We kind of called this off air, didn't we? I don't know if we talked about it on air.
Yeah, we talked, I know we talked personally, and of course, this has been a name in the show's history, Jeffrey Epstein. As you said, it goes back before I was on the show.
Yeah.
And then we talked, I don't know how many months ago, about the Lolita Express. And the point that we made, I was just looking at my notes, is that how handicapped was Hillary Clinton when she was running against a sexual predator herself in the name of Donald Trump, and she couldn't do anything because her own backup guy, Big Bill, had his own indiscretions. I mean, there was not only indiscretions, they were in league together, riding down 26 times Bill flew. So how could you dare make any accusations, even in innuendos, against Trump's picadillos when you had Bill in the closet?
Well, of course. Well, here's
the big question is, who killed him?
Yeah.
Flip a coin.
And
it's not
that's
that he was killed.
We're
not going to play around.
Yeah, no, we're not going to play that game because the first thing the media said was, and they got their statement from the federal government because he was being held in a federal jail, that Epstein committed suicide by hanging himself with a bedsheet. Really?
You have
Trump
in the White House and Bill rolling around. Mm-hmm. Now, Darren, the guy was a billionaire, right?
Well, he had millions. I don't know if he was an actual billionaire.
The court that I see in America is susceptible to money, right? Mm-hmm. He could hire the best lawyers, and this is a guy that wanted to kill himself.
Yeah, wait a minute. This is a guy that served jail time back in 2008 or 9 for
plea
this
deal.
same thing under the plea deal with the Florida federal prosecutor, Acosta, who was part of Trump's, not cabinet,
Yep.
but he was
Oh,
part
yeah.
of the Trump administration.
Right.
Yeah, this smells to high heaven, and if you can't smell it, then you need to go to the ear, nose, and throat doctor because something's wrong with your senses, folks.
You remember the games that when you were in school, they had the teacher give you little dots, and then you would connect the dots, and it'd be a picture of
Yeah.
Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny or something.
Oh, yeah, even adults still do connect the dot
You
drawings.
put 3 dots here together, and it's the forehead of Donald Trump. Keep drawing.
Yeah,
In the
and they-
background, you got Bill Clinton silhouetted.
It's,
I mean, what
it's
do people
everybody.
have to
It's-
have before they speculate?
And here's the thing. Just a few days ago, the FBI raided Epstein's private island. Now, this is a guy that was rich enough to buy his own island. So they arrest him on these charges weeks ago, and they didn't raid it then. But now that he's dead, oh, we're going to raid his island. No, let me tell you what it is. It's not a discovery of evidence. This is a cover-up of evidence or destruction
Absolutely.
of evidence.
Absolutely.
Because he had a lot of dirt on a lot of very famous, very wealthy people who did not want any of this to get out.
That song was never going to be sung. All you have to do, and I have an article, I'm going to take time to look it up. Just the high points are, somehow the guard that was normally there, they had a substitute guard put in. They were supposed to watch every half hour, but they fell asleep right during the witching hour for 3.5 hours. Just fell asleep. You know, kind of like Andy Mayberry down there. Who was the guy that would sleep outside the cell snoring? There they were.
Floyd?
One of them, you know. Or he slept inside the cell. Nonetheless, if you can't smell horse shit when it's on your feet, you need, like you said, your nose job. I think, honestly, when we look at this, you have to go back to the whole term conspiracy theory because it wasn't minutes after the death. You called me and said, you know, Jeffrey Epstein is dead. I went on to the internet, and it was already like snow falling. Conspiracy theories. Look how many conspiracy theories. America is just absolutely stuffed with conspiracies, and this is just another one. Well, folks, the conspiracy theory term was an invention of the CIA. It was designed to counteract whatever questions might pop up over the Warren Report. I don't think people realize it was coined by the CIA and weaponized as a way to neuter anybody with any critical thinking against the government. And it's been used like a free get-out-of-jail pass card ever since.
Well, the CIA ripped it off. Let me go through here. This is a Wikipedia article on the term conspiracy theory. The Oxford English Dictionary defines conspiracy theory as the theory that an event or phenomenon occurs as a result of a conspiracy between interested parties, specifically a belief that some covert but influential agency, typically political in motivation and oppressive in intent, is responsible for an unexplained event. It cites a 1909 article in the American Historical Review as the earliest usage example, although it appears in journals as early as April of 1870. The word conspiracy derives from the Latin con, which is with or together, and the Latin spirare, to breathe. Together to breathe is what conspiracy means in Latin. So, yeah.
Well, the term of it out there, but it hadn't been weaponized. Here's an article from a Honorable Reverend Douglas Wilson.
Actually, let me get the next paragraph here, because then it mentions the Warren Commission. Robert Blaskowitz notes examples of the term were used as early as the 19th century and states that its usage has always been derogatory. Lance DeHaven Smith suggested that the term entered everyday language in the United States after 1964, the year in which the Warren Commission shared its findings with the New York Times, running 5 stories that year using the term. Isn't that interesting? The New York Times comes back into this.
Oh, yeah.
And we got a story a little bit later about a New York Times editor who's been demoted. So,
yeah,
but I'll let you continue here.
As I said, the term conspiracy theory is an invention of the CIA. Obviously, the words existed, but it wasn't turned into a purposeful weapon until a document was created, that CIA document 1035-960. And it's actually called the foundation of a weaponized term. This pastor said, I went exploring, and surprise, surprise, there is a 1967 CIA memo that puts forward a great many of the commonly heard rebuttals to the Warren Commission report. The CIA owned over 250 media outlets in the 60s, spent $1 billion in today's dollars spreading information, and had people doing its bidding in every major city in the world. So it's not surprising that they were able to disseminate this idea. What idea? Well, if you read a document, it goes into point by point how you are going to attack anybody with critical analysis. Okay? And this is from the report. Critics usually overvalue particular items and ignore others. Conspiracy on a larger scale often suggested would be impossible to conceal in the United States. Critics have often been entitled by a form of intellectual pride, a light on some theory, and fall in love with it. The CIA, and it goes on and goes on and goes on, how you can diffuse anybody.
And where are you reading this from?
This one is this is from Project Unspeakable. I have one that's even better, Darren. I would direct you to CIA coined and weaponized the label conspiracy theory from Corey's Dig. I've got 20 of them here. I read these at 5 o'clock this morning. The actual document that came out in 1967 removes any specter of conservative pushback that tries to deny the fact that the CIA developed an anathema to anybody who questioned the JFK assassination, who questioned 9/11, who questioned the fact that the Warren Report was a stacked group of stuffed white shirt conservatives like our own Gerald R. Ford, whose term it was to whitewash that whole episode in American history. And they do it today. And I'm amazed at how many so-called progressives say, oh, hell, are you telling me that just because all the attackers on 9/11 weren't from Iraq, they just happened to be from Saudi Arabia? Don't go down that conspiracy path. Bull crap. We got the crap noise there. The conspiracy theory is the way to dislodge the truth that the deep state, the powers that be, made damn sure that Epstein wouldn't live to sing. That's our point.
Let me just make this point. Michael Moore made it and published this, that he's worked with a lot of rich people. He doesn't know one that's been able to tie a knot on his own.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's see. Epstein has supposedly committed suicide by wrapping a bedsheet around his neck. By the way, apparently it was one of those thin bed sheets that's supposed to be suicide-proof.
Right.
Was in his jail cell. He is supposed to be checked on every half hour. The guards didn't check on him for at least 3 hours in some places, and there's no footage of it. Oh, really?
The whole concept that he didn't have to be on suicide observance is as laughable as the fact that he got a complete free pass in the form of a plea deal in his first crime.
Yeah.
This has been going on, but people don't pay any attention.
Yeah.
If you had the history of this guy and you saw what breaks have been gotten by the Trump associations throughout history, you wouldn't give it a second thought.
Well, here's the thing, too. And we talked about it before we went on air today. This is a guy that has already been convicted of similar charges. He spent an 18-month term. Yes, it's jail. It's not a federal prison. It's not what was going on in Manhattan. It's completely different, whatever. Here's the thing. If the guy felt that bad about stuff, he would have taken his own life then. What's the difference between then and now? Oh, well, he was going to get at least 20 years. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that until the actual case is adjudicated.
Right.
And that's how it is. So really, for this to be labeled suicide, I don't know. Then this comes out. It came out, I believe, on a Thursday.